This is John Hernandez here with a true icon in music today. He's a former member of Megadeth, done some amazing solo work along with bands like Damn the Machine and now with Namm. He has guest appeared on some of the most amazing albums of our generation, the one and only Chris Poland. Chris, thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
Hey, thanks for having me, John.
First off, the main project you're working on now, Namm, I would love to just get a bit of background on it for them that might have not heard of it, the band members when the band formed.
Yeah, Robbie Pagliari's our bass player. I've known him since I first moved to California in the late 70s, and we formed a kind of rock jazz fusion band called the New Yorkers, and we did that for years, and then kind of parted ways for a while. Of course, I joined Megadeth, and he played in a number of other bands. Then we got together again in the mid '90s and just said, let's just do what we love to do, and so that's what we've been doing ever since. And then David Eagle, our drummer, he was our drummer on our first record, and then he left the band to do other stuff for a while, and then he came back a couple years ago, which was great because he's really a perfect drummer for Namm. He was the original drummer in Oingo Boingo. He's played with, I believe, Alfonso Johnson from Weather Report, Tina Turner, Willie Bobo. He played with him for years. He's just a great drummer. Does a lot of Afro-Cuban stuff, but can also do like Middle Eastern, Persian-style beats, which is pretty cool.
What is Namm up to right now? Is there any new material, any shows coming up you guys are working on?
Yeah, we just played last week at the Baked Potato, but we always write new material, so there's always something new on the horizon for the band. We've recorded the record live in the studio once, then we started to track it again, and things just didn't feel right, so we kind of put it on hold. I think that's going to change probably in the next 6 months. We'll probably have the record done.
You said you're always writing new material. Does the band or you guys, do you have a certain writing process, or is it riff-driven?
No, usually I'll come in with, like a core idea, verse, bridge, chorus idea, and then I'll start playing it, and then Pag will have a, suggestion, and David will have suggestions, and then, we just suss it out until we go there. That's it. Somebody will start playing something, like there's a song called Amino Acid Flashback. That came out of a jam. That was Pag's kind of idea of while we were jamming, and then we took it and made it into that song. So, once in a while that happens too. We make sure when we come into the studio, the first thing we do is to warm up, is to jam, and I always record everything, so.
I know you've done a slew of guest appearances on just about every style and genre out there. Do you have any recent guest appearances you've been working on?
I did some solos for Gar Samuelson's old band. His original singer sent me some stuff to solo over. I feel terrible because I can't remember his name right now. I'll do, if I like the music, I'll do it, And I do a lot of them, and I usually go over to my friend Randy Pebler's. It's Rand Song Studios, and I love working with him because I, bounce ideas off him, and he always lets me know if, he gives me his 2 cents, and I kind of appreciate it.
Well, I know you was at Namm this year. Any really cool stories or things you were working on over there?
I talked with Palmer from Germany, the guitar direct box company. I met with Robin, and I told him, I'm really interested in your products, and then lo and behold, now I'm endorsed by them. I think what it was I'm not sure he knew who I was or, what it mattered, and when I went to their booth, so then when I went to play the Eminence booth, I wanted to use a Palmer amp, because there's usually one there every year, and there wasn't one. So they ran over to the Palmer booth to grab an amp, and Robin came back with the amp, and then he went, hey, you were just at my booth. He thought, well, you know what? I think I can give Chris an endorsement. So.
Right on. I've been reading a lot about your signature guitar with Schecter. How did that come about?
Here at the studios, and a guy came in my office and handed me a bunch of pamphlets and stuff from Schecter and said, hey, they want to talk to you about possibly coming on the roster. And at the time, Yamaha was kind of just falling apart, and John Gadesi was leaving. and I'd been working with John for over 10 years. He did all of my guitar work for years and years, and pickups and everything. And so I kind of thought, well, John's leaving, I might as well split. So then when I went to the meeting, they kind of sat me down and talked to me and told me, what's what. And I said, yeah, sure, let's do it. And they said, okay, great. Now we're going to tell you, we're going to give you the big surprise is John Guedesi starts work today here. And I was like, what? And they were like, yeah. I was astounded that, he was going to be working at Schecter the day I started, or being endorsed by them. So it was a win-win situation. Plus the guitar is amazing. When I had an SLS Solo 6, I had them put a Floyd on it. So it was kind of like a modified stock guitar. But when they made the Poltergeist, they sat down and we sat down, me and Mike, and kind of talked about how to do it and what I wanted. And there's something about when they build a guitar, and make it a production guitar, all the things seem to come together, and it's really a great guitar, man. Even if it wasn't my guitar, I would play this guitar.
So you were directly involved then from the beginning with that particular model?
Yeah, and I didn't want to change a lot. I didn't want to go in there and invent some new body style, because I know it's not cool to go in and have them have to machine up to make a guitar. So I took the guitar that I liked, and I changed the headstock, and I changed the scale length, and I made it play the way I wanted it to play, but still kept all their, their headstock is their stock headstock, but we reversed the headstock so it looks a little bit different. And, I just made it so out of all their guitars, this one is a little bit different, and it's got everything I like on it. It's got a great Floyd bridge on it. It's got John Guedesi's hand-wound pickups on it. Basically, you're getting what I would have, even if I wasn't endorsed by Schecter. If I brought a Les Paul-style guitar in there, that's probably what it would sound like, because John would be doing all the electrical work on it, all the pickups and wiring and stuff. So
I've been working with Rob over at Stone Tone. I did a write-up on my blog for his rock blocks. I know you're working with Rob also. I would love to hear how you guys met, your use of the products of band, what they've done to affect your tone, the whole nine yards.
Yeah, we were over by the Floyd booth, and Rob was standing there, and somehow we started talking. I had tried everything. I tried the original block that comes on a Floyd. I tried the big brass blocks, the little brass blocks. I mean, everything you could do, right? I didn't try titanium because it's too expensive, and I've been told that by everybody that it's too bright. So anyway, he had a block in his hand, and he just gave it to me. He goes, here, put this on your guitar and tell me what you think. And I didn't think much of it. I was like, you never know. Could be great, it could not be great, but I wasn't going to get all excited about it, because I don't do that anymore. I just try and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And when I put it on, I was really surprised. I was like, there was just something was happening. It's almost like, I put a brand new set of strings on it. I got the thing all intonated, and when I started playing it, it just felt like the notes were popping right off the neck. Like it just, like, I do a lot of legato, and it lent a lot of help to the legato, because there's a lot of sustain happening. And at the time, I was tuned down a half step, so, I wasn't getting the full impact of having the strings at A440. And just recently, we tuned up. When you're tuned to A440 with a Stone Tone, block on your bridge, you'll notice the difference, man. It's like twice as much sustain as it was tuned down a half step. Yeah, I can't say enough about that. And, every tone is subjective. A lot of people, they don't even want a Floyd bridge, whatever. If you use a Floyd bridge, maybe you like the original block. That's your business. For me, man, that block, it's just got so much tone to it. I can't say enough about it. And I know it's expensive, and it's a hassle. Take it all apart, put it back together, and, it's a lot of work. It's just worth it for me. And if anybody out there is thinking about doing it, maybe you should go find a guitar that has one on it, and then A/B it with a guitar that doesn't, and then you'll know, because the proof's kind of in the pudding there. So.
Well, and it also comes down to, what are you willing to pay to get your sound and the time and effort to put into it? No, I totally agree with you 100%.
Well, I mean, you could pay $60 for a brass block, or you can pay $120 for a granite block. But in the end, if it works for you, it's kind of worth it. I mean, you're paying the same price you would for an MXR pedal. Believe me, it does a lot more than an MXR pedal. So I don't want to do a hard sell on anybody with this Stone Tone block. I love it. And like I said, tone is subjective. Other people might not like it. I won't play a guitar without one on it, and that's all I can say.
So while we're on the subject of kind of gear, we talked about the guitar, the block. What's some other gear that Chris Poland cannot live without?
I'm really a fan of Bruce Agnator's work. At Namm, I actually got to sit down and play his Rebel 20. But ever since then, I can't get that amp out of my head. I'm going to find a way where I can juice extract it and get it in my system, in my rack system somehow, because that little amp, that's the best sounding distorted lead tone I've heard in a long, long time. It has the 6V6 EL84 kind of knob where you can turn it back and forth and in between. But there's something about Bruce's gain, the way he goes about getting gain on solo and crunch channels and stuff. I just love his work. So I have an old red-face IE4 4-channel preamp that he made long, long time ago in the early 90s. I love it. I've had 3 of them, and all 3 were good, but I kept the best one of the 3. I had to sell the other ones to buy some recording equipment for the studio. I kind of regret it because I'll probably never see another one, but that's what I'm using now. That's kind of like something I got to have. Really, the most important thing is it's kind of the basics, man. It's like your strings are important, and so are your speakers. You know, there's strings, speakers, guitar, and amp. You know, everything else in between, you know, can kind of come and go. But I was at a friend's house years ago, and I picked up all his guitars, and they all just played great. And I said, what's the deal? What kind of strings do you use? And he said, I use Ernie Ball 10s, and that was it. As soon as I put them on my guitar, I was like, that's the sound. You know, and everybody says, oh, that's baloney, man. All strings are made by the same company, and that might be true, but there's something about Ernie Ball strings that those strings I can't play guitar without one, you know, without a set on them. And then my speakers are Eminent, and I used Celestion for years, and always struggled with the really screechy top end, no matter what I did. You know, most Celestion speakers, they won't sound good unless you take a 100-watt head and dime it, and then you kind of are crushing the speaker enough to get it to warm up. I don't really play like that, so when I tried Eminent speakers, I was blown away, and then luckily they gave me an endorsement, so I filled all my cabinets with Tonkers, and I really like the Tonker speaker. The Man of War is a great speaker, and so are, what's that other speaker? It's the blue one. I can't remember the name of it because I'm not using those live anymore. But you really can't go wrong with Eminent speakers. And I think people are like, well, yeah, they're so inexpensive compared to Celestians. And then, well, the reason that is because they're made in America. They don't have to ship them anywhere. So you're basically getting a great speaker at a great price. And then as far as amps go, I have a lot of different power amps. I have Mesa power amps. I have old PV Classic power amps, and I have a really old Angle power amp that before they got really big that I really love. But my main power amp right now is a modified PV Classic 120-120. And I had Stretch over at Valley Sound do a mod on it, and I really love it, man.
My friend over at Ear Candy Cabs, he got me playing Eminent speakers, and I got to agree. Well, and Ernie Ball 10s, that's what I use too. So it's really awesome to hear somebody of your caliber talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's just something about them, man. You know, but I was thinking about it on the way to the studio today that if you think about it, there's so many options. You could go buy 4 greenback Celestians, and everybody says they're the best, you know. And then what if you don't like them? You just spent, you know, over $500 on 4 speakers. Now what? It's a real struggle in guitar because there's so much to try, and you know the money thing is crazy. But you know we're all musicians, man. You can't go out and buy everything and try it. I'm just lucky that somehow I always I find something that works for me, and it's usually by accident.
One question that I got asked by a ton of different people is what music does Chris Pullen like, and what music really inspires you to play?
I like a lot of different music. Like there's certain Doyle Bramhall songs, and I really can't remember the names of them because my manager will send me like a compilation disc, and I'll put it in, and there'll be a couple Doyle Bramhall songs that just kill me, you know, and I got to listen to them every day for a week. You know, back in the day, I was before Megadeth, before all this, I was really into jazz and fusion and stuff. And not to say that I can sit down and go play Giant Steps with a hardcore jazz band. I can't. But that's the kind of music I love to listen to. So I'm a big Wayne Shorter fan from Weather Report. I'm a big Joe Zawinul fan from Weather Report. I love Jan Hammer. I love Jeff Beck and John McLaughlin. But I also love Robin Trower and Hendrix and Clapton and Page and Beck and you know, Leslie West, the Allman Brothers, you know, I mean, I could just go on and on and on, you know. I just like all music, you know. It's like if I'm drawn to it, I'll usually buy it and listen to it until I have to stop and listen to something else. But I'm very kind of like addicted like that. If I like something, I have to listen to it until it just, it's embedded in my brain.
Another question that come up was, do you have any hobbies away from music and being in studios and recording and touring that you like to do to unwind from the music world?
Yeah, I'm a big movie fan. No, I really don't have a lot of time, man. But I have the band thing and the music thing, but I also have a family. I have a daughter, Kaylee, who's 6 going on 7, my wife, Allison, and really important to me that I kind of don't make music, just kind of overwhelm everything. So it's a learning thing for me. I have to really, discipline myself to not sit at the studio for 10 hours and then come home and go, oh, yeah, I missed dinner, I guess my hobby would be we bought a house in Burbank. We got lucky. I can't tell you the whole story, but there was no way we could afford it, but somehow certain things happened and we got it, So I guess my hobby is getting my lawn together.
What would you say to a band out there that's trying to get their name out there? They're out there, they're trying to record, they're playing the clubs, they're trying to go to kind of help give them a boost?
Well, I say go for it, but the one thing that I tell anybody, if you're going to play music and if you're playing it because you want to be rich and famous, that's going to be really hard because it might not work out. But if you play music, guitar, bass, drums, keyboards, whatever it is you do, whether it's, whether you're a painter, doesn't matter. Whatever it is that you love to do, if you love to do it and you do it for free, then you're going to be fine, because making money in music is not what it used to be. And I can't help myself. This is what I've done my whole life. I love guitar. There's something about it. It's very, healing to me in a way. I don't know how to describe it. It's just good for my soul. And it's something I love to do, and I'll do it until I'm dead, But as far as the struggle of trying to get out there and get a name for yourself, yeah, it's a struggle. You're going to hold your head in your hands and wonder why, Sometimes I say to myself, why didn't I follow a different path, because now I have a daughter and a family, and money is tight. And, sometimes I say, maybe I should have done this, gone to college, whatever, Everybody has those thoughts. I don't second guess that I love playing guitar. I wish, I could be like those bands, get out there and, I'm trying to hustle money playing guitar. I do that, but don't put all your eggs in one basket, man, because it's cruel. The music business is cruel. If you're not attached to it in a monetary way and you just love music, then it's not cruel because they can't touch you.
I love how you worded all of that. I don't want to keep you for too long. I know you're a busy man. Thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate this more than you'll ever know. I've been a massive fan for as long as I can remember. Down the road, I would be more than honored to sit and talk with you more.
Oh, absolutely, man.